Hey everyone, welcome back to the Electric Supercar channel. Today we're going to be talking about an electric power steering rack. Oh my goodness! When is power steering coming? For the electric power steering, we're going to be using this Nissan 300ZX from 1992. So we've been spending the last several months electrifying that. That means taking out the engine, putting in dual motors, as well as the battery packs. Typically for an internal combustion car, there is a power steering pump that is usually mounted on the motor that is belt driven. With the engine now gone, we need a suitable replacement. On this vehicle before, we actually tried a power steering column, but we are now going to do a power steering rack. So we do have a couple other goodies for you. We've got heat, AC, as well as some cooling. We're even going to do some brackets and a gear selector. That should make for a good video. Let's get to it.
All right, so Jeremy's designed a little fuse box holder. We got good clearance for the cover. We got good clearance here. It's 0.12, well, it's 3 millimeter thick, so we can do it out of our aluminum. So basically we're gonna try and cut this out on the X tool and bend it with all these complicated bends. So tight, I can't get it out. Just gotta knock these out.
So it's tight enough that they don't want to come out on their own.
Yeah, it's warm.
Oof. Yeah, it is warm.
Yeah, that's how tight it is.
That's bonkers.
Right? So now we see if we can bend it. All right, so now that we've cut this piece out on the X tool, we gotta try and bend it. Like I said, this one bend is gonna be pretty hard to do. I've got the 3D print here. I'll try to match it as best I can, but I've also got the CAD file over here so I can measure the angles. And then I've got an angle finder that I'll use while I bend it to make sure I'm at the right angle. Okay, that ended up working. I had to stack a bunch of the angle iron in order to get the bends to clear, and I had to do a lot of math that made my head hurt. Turned out really, really good actually. Pulls line up, the bends line up. So now I'm gonna go test fit it, see if we actually are good. Okay. All right, yeah, that's good.
I've completed a design. This is for the gear selector for the Nissan. And in the past when we did the Toyota truck, we did this out of steel just because it was easier to weld. This one can do both welding as well as cutting. So we're gonna try some aluminum. So we got the software open here. We are going to load all the parts and see what it does. So here's the program. It takes a visual image of kind of what's cut out, what's remaining. And these are my DXF files. Load them in there, kind of make sure that they're spaced okay. They've got room to cut out. So now we're gonna go ahead and cut them out. Even though it cut it, it's still kind of there. Is it okay to like pop it out?
That's how fine of a cut it is, that it sticks in place. It's crazy.
That is so awesome. So now we'll see how good my design is. We'll see if we can put it together. That was my first experience with the X tool. It's super exciting. That whole process took less than 5 minutes. So lots of times our workflow, we'll design something, we'll actually do 3D printing, and then once we're satisfied with that, we'll do the laser cutting. The laser cutting though, usually took about 2 weeks for it to get to us. This one took 5 minutes. We've got our press here, got some angle iron in there. So we're gonna go ahead and try and do some bending. All right, so this is the laser unit, the same one that's part of that CNC table. This is the feeder. This will actually feed in, I'll call it weld wire. We also have to hook it up to our shielded gas. I've got some just scrap pieces that I'm going to test on. I've never done laser welding before. Slowly I'm learning. It seems like you have to kind of like start moving the gun before you start welding. Normally with welding, I'll kind of sit there until it gets a pull and then start moving. This one's like you almost have to move as you're starting. Here it is. Again, this is my first attempt. I'm learning, but this is kind of like what you'd get. So again, this is 1/8 inch aluminum, so I think it does pretty well for like, I mean, I'm not blowing through, I'm not having any heat warpage. So we do think this tool is pretty cool. If you are interested in something like this, I'll leave a link in the video description below. We went from 3D print to metal. This time we chose aluminum, cut it out of the X tool and welded it with the X tool. Got it all assembled. This one's going in the Nissan. All right, so we have this panel somewhat just placed here. This cover isn't fastened correctly to it. This just kind of gives you the feel for what we got here. So again, the customer wanted something that was like a manual. So I think that works out really well. Very satisfying, kind of clunk, clunk, clunk. For today's sponsor, we have the Foxwell NT614 Elite. So this does look very nice, well made, and it comes with all the necessary cables. So let's go check it out. So we'll go ahead and plug it in, and it turns on all by itself. And here are all the things you can do. You got diagnostic, maintenance, OBD2, you got your IM, a battery test, got your trouble lookup codes. So we'll go through and show you some of these features. To navigate, you've got this little pad here in the OK or back. So we are currently in a Honda. All right, gives you everything that you need to know. So here we can go to do a quick scan. We can go through our control modules. I think control modules are cool. So again, you can read codes. So that's good. We got no fault, no fault, no fault. Everything's passing. Everything's good on this particular vehicle. Oh yeah, live data. I love live data. So here's a pretty simple one, engine speed. We'll see how that maps with our map sensor. So you can see the live data is right here. If I do a little bit of acceleration, see how that goes. So we can select both of them and then we can hit graph. So there's the graph, and if we hit the accelerator now, pretty cool. All right, so here we're gonna do I am ready. So again, this is if you're getting emissions done, you can check your system real quick to see if it's ready. So basically you can go through all these and determine that, hey, we're okay for all these systems. So it looks like this car is ready for IM inspection. Now we'll try the battery test. So this is your battery here. So voltage at 13.9. DTC lookup. So this is like a fault code, lambda slow response, rich to lean bank 1 sensor. So this is how you can do things like you can do your oil reset. This is like your tire pressure sensor. So all these things you can do with this device. This is the Foxwell OBD2 scanner. If this can save you even one trip to the mechanic, it's probably worth it. So if you're interested in a product like this, I'll leave a link in the video description below. This is the steering column from a Model 3, and we've got the steering rack in here. So we need to get this end attached to the rack, but then I think we're still planning to use the Nissan steering column kind of inside the car. So we'll likely kind of chop this off here. We just need to adapt this one to the Nissan steering column. Right there is, we've kind of removed the bottom half of the Nissan steering column. And previously we had welded on this Kia power steering unit, but the Tesla actually has a power steering rack. So we're getting rid of this one. So this was the part that was welded on here on the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and take that one off, and we're gonna design a new piece that we can weld on the Tesla Model 3 steering column. All right, so this is the piece we welded and we just kind of chopped it off. So I'm gonna make a new piece like this one that can adapt to the new steering column. All right, this is the steering column from the Tesla, and we're adapting it to the Nissan. So this is kind of, I'll call it the adapter plate. We just need to make sure that this is right at 90 degrees and hopefully nothing warps. Just welded, I'll say maybe a quarter, and as you can see it pulled it that way by about half a degree. So we'll try and weld the other side, see if it'll pull back. There's 90.1. It's gonna weld the inside as well. Getting there. You can tell that the end's warped away, so almost there. All right, so we just got it so it's all flat now. We're gonna check for how true it is. Flat here, we're gonna go stick it on here and kind of just see where we're at. We can grind a little bit one way or the other to get things exactly flat. So again, both directions we're looking pretty good.
All right, so we ran into a problem using the stock Tesla rack. We were not able to get some default assist like we can with the brake booster, where you just hook up power and you've got some, default brake assist. This does not do that. Default is no assist. So we looked around for what we could use, and apparently the Mustang E-Rack is a suitable candidate for a lot of projects. Looked at some dimensions, measured some, compared the Tesla rack to the Mustang rack, and found that they're pretty close, but we need to do some modifications. One of the modifications is these tie rod ends. The Tesla is shorter here, and then the Mustang shorter here. So what we did is drilled this out and tap it all the way down to the end, cut this a little bit shorter, and probably even cut the rod a little bit shorter so we're not bottoming out. And that way we still have some adjustability on the end here. We'll also have to make a new mount for the mounting area here. I have to adapt it from the Tesla subframe to this width here. Everything lines up nicely still. This is in line. So yeah, that's a really good sign. We've got default. We do have also this guy that can communicate over CAN. If we wanted to dial in how much assist we have, we could use this. This steering shaft input is larger, but it does have a keyway on it. So we'll have to grind down these flats. All right, now that I've threaded these a little bit longer and took off maybe not even a 3/4 of an inch off the end here, this will now thread on to here a little further. I've also cut an inch off the end of this. So now with it threaded all the way on like this, we are now towed in. So we have all the adjustment that we need. Okay, that's super close for like 14.6 millimeters. This is 14.5. Putting this in here, we first had this 3D print that I made up, and we tested it in there, installed it, everything worked well. Now we've got, this is the new rack adapter. Got that in there. Next is installing the actual steering rack.
Probably can't see too well, but this is the bracket that holds on the power steering unit. Right there as well. It's again nice, thick, beefy steel. So here's the power steering unit. And then we got this big old plug. That's looking good. I'm trying, man. Oh my goodness. When is power steering coming? I'm trying.
Trying to be ginger with it, I know. You're doing good.
Gosh.
You're gonna have gnarly forearms after this.
We've got power steering working. So
All right, I've got an update on the Nissan front battery box. I would have shown you guys, but I could barely see myself. I tacked in these supports. So I've got the front support here, which rests on these and the cross member and these corners. And then we've got the rear bolt-in supports here. Everything's just tacked in right now to the subframe. These bolt in, got 4 bolts in the back to the battery box. And then we'll have 4 up here on the sides in the front, and then it just rests on here. What I'm gonna do now is weld all this stuff in place so you guys can actually see that part. All right, so now that we've got the front battery box in, we've got to do these front mounts. So this is what the mount looks like, and these are the gussets that go along with it. So it's gonna be a little difficult to get this done properly, but you can see this one's bolted in, and so we're just gonna tack it in place to the battery support, and then we can take the battery pack back out and finish welding all of this up. I got some spacers in here in between the mount and the battery, so it's easier to install. So yeah, let's just get to it. So I'm pretty much a genius. I got the bore scope pointed towards the gun. That way I can see, boom, there we go. So now it's showing the tip of the welder, and I can get these welds done underneath here where I can't see it. Amazing. I think we'll just get some paint on this and then reinstall the battery box. I went ahead and painted all the new bracketry, got welded in. These guys, everything's looking good. That one's still drying. Painted some other parts of the subframe / battery mount that got scratched and stuff. Keep it protected from some weather. Before I can install the battery for the last time, I need to get the length on this hose just a little bit shorter. So I gotta get back inside of here, cut it just a bit shorter. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do it on both sides too. And then we can get this buttoned up and throw them back in the car. Been doing some AC and cooling stuff. Got the new coolant port bracket installed. You can see a little elbow here through a grommet, so it's all sealed, watertight. Comes out and into this quick disconnect right here. Has this mating fitting on it. It just clicks in like so. That goes down into one of the Ys that I welded up. Pressurized coolant will come up here and Y off into this one, and then go down and back to the rear pack. In here, it goes into a manifold through the pack and then out. Same thing on the other side. Got this bracket, same thing, elbow into the same kind of Y down here. Join up with the rear pack's outlet through here behind the headlight, and then into this guy, into the front radiator. I've also been doing some AC now that we have the battery pack installed. I was able to get the high pressure line here and then the suction line here installed. We have just enough clearance right here. Pressure line through here into the condenser right here, and then through the condenser into this line, into the dryer, out of the dryer, behind the headlight, up here, into the evap core, then out of the evap core, around here. Here's the low pressure fill port, then goes down here, and into the compressor. Yeah, got all the AC lines made up, got coolant lines. So yeah, it's coming along nicely. Everything's fitting, everything's clearing, got access to things. We got enough room for high voltage cables to sneak past. It's coming along. I think the whole thing looks really good. All right, we're starting to fill up the Nissan with some water. Just gonna do water for now, and then that'll kind of clean out the system as well if there's anything in there. And then once we are happy with it, we can fill it with coolant. Russ is filling it up right now.
The long pour is back.
What's up?
Earthquake!
Yes.
Holy.
That's awesome. Look at that. Porsche's still swinging.
Whoa.
That's awesome.
That was awesome.
Lower the car.
Wow, we just went through an earthquake. That was cool. Let's see if we can see some water flowing in here. There it goes, going up. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah.
All right, we are checking to make sure the coolant fan works. So go ahead and change that. Yeah. Boom, nice.
We're bled now. You can see it flowing through. Sounds good enough anyway to do some testing for charging work. There we go, we're plugged in, click, click.
These should turn on.
There it goes, we're pumping.
And then you can see we're pulling amps.
Cooling down the 2-in-1.
You can see the amps on there.
And we are
Kind of hard to see.
pulling current.
Right there. It didn't work. It stopped working. It stopped working.
That's the 110?
Yeah, that's
All right, so we're working on charging. We've got some chargers working and others not. So this is the a 110 outlet, and it's oh, did it trip the breaker? So it may have tripped the breaker. But we are working on charging for this one. So Tony's got this one wired up, and yeah, we're beginning charge cycles, which is exciting. All right, so we tripped the little breaker on our extension cord, so we're gonna go ahead and try this guy again. I think if it goes for longer than 15 seconds, it usually just goes, so.
Golden. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Don't touch me.
Uh-oh, error. All right, so we were able to get all the 220 volt electrical vehicle supply equipment, so all the wall chargers that have 220, they're all working with this one. The 110 we can't, so we may have to do a different charge parameter to see if they can charge with 110. These guys have been slaving away, looking at wires, and finally getting the AC system to work.
So we had an issue with our trinary. It was backwards. So when it was requesting the fan on, it was supposed to be requesting the AC compressor. But we switched those around and now it's getting cold. So we have this coming out. I don't know if you can see. Look, 31 degrees. That is proper cold. So
they got the AC system working. Russ is up here looking at the pressures and temperatures.
So you see the pressure drop. This will climb, and right when it gets to about, we're at 200. When it gets halfway between 200 and 300, that fan should kick on. This is building pressure. Here's the fan.
So basically in there, it looks like it's coming out around 3C. It's Was that like 36, 38, something like that, Fahrenheit? On here, what are the things that would trigger AC?
Okay, so basically, you shouldn't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out to turn the heater on and to turn the AC on. So, if you come here, just up in heat is hot.
So then the AC kicks off?
Yep, so the AC's off and the heater will immediately come on. Okay, so you can see the heat is starting to rise.
Okay, and that's because we're set really hot. So if we want to go AC, you have to econ off.
Yeah, so what the car has is economy mode, meaning fuel efficiency should be better, so they shut off the AC compressor. So if you go to just auto, and then come down to cold,
Yeah, I heard it kick
you
on.
hear it kick on.
Cools like even your hand.
And then you look at your hand and it's like two different colors. Yeah, see?
All right, so learning about this, basically auto allows for AC to be on. Econ is kind of like vent only, and up and down just basically means it'll try and kick on the AC if it needs to cool it, and if it needs to heat it, same sort of thing. So auto is kind of AC on, econ is just like vent only. So we were able to get a lot done. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.